It's no longer news that Lewis Hamilton has crashed out of the 2022 F1 Belgian GP. What's making the news is how Fernando Alonso called him an idiot, and how fellow race driver Sebastian Vettel finds the comments disrespectful. Keep watching this video as I'll be telling you all you need to know about Vettel's view on the disrespectful comments to Hamilton, and lots more. First up, what happened at the race? Lewis Hamilton, who is a 7-time world champion, began the race in P4. Unfortunately, he came wheel-to-wheel with Alonso at the end of the Kemmel Straight. Sadly for Hamilton, the superstar driver didn't leave sufficient space for Alonso, and they ended up colliding, with Hamilton taking the worst part of the hit. After the race, an angry Alonso questioned Hamilton's racing abilities, stating that the former champion could only race if he started at the top of the grid. If you're an F1 fan, then you'd know that throughout Hamilton's career with Mercedes, he usually begins his races at the top of the grid. Besides questioning Hamilton's racing skills, Alonso also called him an idiot, and a few observers and fellow racers felt Alonso's comments were a bit too harsh. Sebastian Vettel is one of many who believes that Alonso shouldn't have made such comments. So how did Sebastian Vettel react? Sebastian Vettel is a respected F1 racer, and he has shared his thoughts on Alonso's comments towards the defeated Hamilton. Vettel believes that Alonso should have shown more respect to his counterpart, even though he was upset at what happened in the opening lap of the 2022 Belgian GP. According to Vettel, Alonso's comments were disrespectful and didn't paint the true picture of who Hamilton really is. Vettel said, and I quote, "It's an emotional reaction. If you were in that situation, you were worried first because you might have damage to the car, and that might be the end of your race. But I think we are aware of the fact radio calls are public, and I think it was a very disrespectful comment." Vettel also went on to say that Hamilton is one of the fairest drivers in the sport, and that it wasn't his intention to be unfair. To add to that, Vettel said everyone makes mistakes, even Fernando Alonso. Next, what was Martin Brundle's take on the issue? Sebastian Vettel isn't the only driver who feels Alonso's comments were out of place, as fellow British driver Martin Brundle also feels the same way. In his Sky Sports column, Brundle came to the defense of Hamilton, as he also stated that he was a clean and fair driver. In his comments, Brundle stated that Mercedes just couldn't switch their tires on in qualifying, but would undoubtedly be better in a warm, dry race. He also said Hamilton didn't get a chance to find out due to a rare error into the Les Combes chicane, where he simply pinched into the side of Fernando Alonso whilst trying to go around the outside and flying through the air. Brundle says he understands that Alonso's comments were propelled by anger and an adrenaline rush, and that his opinion that Hamilton could only win from the front was unfair on Hamilton. He reminded the world of how much Hamilton has given to the sport, and that the lad hasn't needed to resort to professional fouls to achieve the kind of success he has had. To further buttress his defense of Hamilton's error, he made reference to the 2021 Sao Paulo GP, when Hamilton managed to overcome a 25-place grid penalty on a sprint weekend to eventually win the feature race. And now, is Hamilton sorry for his actions? Besides Hamilton's mistake at the opening lap, the British driver also lost his cool as he screamed curse words at his Mercedes camp for reasons best known to him. It seems the heat of the moment had gotten to him, and the 37-year-old driver couldn't seem to keep his emotions in check. Thankfully, Hamilton had calmed down at the media pen, and he humbly tendered his apologies to both Alonso and the members of his Mercedes team. As a sign of good faith, Hamilton signed a Mercedes cap and left it for Alonso. This pleased not only his teammates, but also the media personalities on the ground. However, the FIA issued Hamilton a warning for failing to follow the safety protocols and visiting his DNF at Spa during the Belgian GP race. As at the time of this video, we aren't sure the extent to which the FIA will punish Hamilton for neglecting the rules. Nonetheless, grid penalties are sometimes taken out of necessity if a team is afraid that their driver might not finish the next race because of a crash. So is Alonso still mad at Hamilton? After the olive branch extended by Hamilton in the form of a signed cap, Alonso has also cooled off. The veteran driver has admitted that his comments were made during the heat of the moment, and he acknowledged Hamilton as a legend. Alonso went on to apologize to Hamilton for calling him an idiot, and hopefully that will be the end of any bad blood between the former teammates. As at the time of this video, neither Hamilton's or Alonso's teams have spoken further on the matter, and as it stands, there seems to be no need for any more comments, as the issue has been laid to rest. Next, is there another reason for Hamilton's retirement other than the crash? After the crash of the Belgian GP, Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, made the decision to retire. This came as a shock to the world, and many are still wondering why the former champion made the decision so hurriedly. Some speculate that Hamilton is calling it quits out of frustration at what happened in the opening lap. However, it could actually be more than that. Let's not forget that Lewis Hamilton is one of the greatest F1 drivers of all time, and his accomplishments over the years can attest to that. As far as Formula One is concerned, Lewis Hamilton has won a joint record of 7 titles. He is tied with none other than the great Michael Schumacher. Hamilton also holds the records for the most wins, 103, pole positions, 103, and podium finishes, 188, among other accolades. With such success in the bag, the British driver may not feel he has anything else to prove, as he has accomplished what most racers can only dream of. This, if not for anything else, is more than enough to move away from the sport that earned him so much fame and fortune. And finally, who will replace Hamilton at Mercedes? Now that Hamilton has retired, the big question now is who will replace him at Mercedes? Hamilton's shoes might seem too big to fill, but with the amount of young and talented drivers still active, no one can rule out the possibility. A favorite candidate for Hamilton's replacement is Esteban Ocon. This lad has been a part of the Mercedes young driver team in the past, so it seems like a no-brainer. Esteban is just 25 years old, and the Alpine driver won his first F1 title at the Hungary GP in 2021. Mercedes might just snatch him up to replace Hamilton next season. Another candidate is Pierre Gasly, who has been praised for his impressive qualifying pace. The only hindrance Pierre could face in replacing Hamilton at Mercedes is that he's currently with Red Bull. F1 fans are no strangers to the rivalry between Red Bull and Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas could be the third option for Hamilton's replacement. It's true that he has agreed to sign with Alfa Romeo, but anything is possible, and Mercedes could just woo him over next season. In other news, George Russell faces online abuse from Lewis Hamilton fans as list of targets keeps increasing after Dutch GP. George Russell has joined the list of F1 professionals to be targeted by die-hard Lewis Hamilton fans online following the events at the Dutch GP. The Mercedes driver has suffered the same abuse from fans, just like Red Bull strategy engineer Hannah Schmitz and AlphaTauri's Yuki Tsunoda. Russell was at Hamilton's rear during the safety car period when he asked to pit for fresh soft tires. Mercedes acceded, and this left Hamilton at the mercy of Verstappen, who was driving with fresher tires. During the safety car restart, Hamilton was easily overtaken by Verstappen. Russell and Charles Leclerc also overtook the Brit. Russell ended the race in second place, while Hamilton was off the podium in P4. As you can imagine, this left Hamilton fans bitter, and they came at Russell for exposing him to Verstappen. The enraged fans took to Twitter to express their disgust. One fan said that Russell should have stayed on the same strategy as Hamilton, and that he thought about only himself during the race. Another fan tweeted that Russell didn't behave like a team player, and that he disappointed many Hamilton fans with his actions. Others ranted that Russell did not deserve any respect because he was playing against Hamilton, who happens to be his teammate. To add to that, some claimed that Mercedes was manipulating teammates against Hamilton, which explains his poor run in recent times. Alonso's comments to Hamilton sparked reactions among Formula One professionals. One of such professionals was Vettel, who felt the comments were over the top. What do you think about Alonso's comments? Harsh or not? Let us know via the comments section. Don't forget to like and share this video. Also subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more interesting videos like this.